What's a day in the life of a real estate professional?
I meet with my clients to do like a very in-depth buyer's representation. So they get like 45 minutes to sometimes 90 minutes to just talk with me and literally read line by line and set out expectations.
Reviews are important, as you say. The last 2 years has been the kind of market where you have to give it your very best.
And Google is where most people would go and search. I literally had clients tell me, we read your reviews. We really appreciate your honesty. We would love to continue working with you.
Michael Perkins with Inhabit Real Estate. I have some rapid fire questions for you, my friend.
Let's hear it.
Dream home, mountain home, or beach house?
I imagine myself in a mountain home near Mount Hood, maybe even out in Bend, snowshoeing.
First house you ever sold. What is the story behind that? Was it memorable?
Ooh, such a good one. Because the first house that I ever got into contract fell out of contract and the clients just disappeared.
Okay.
They moved back to California. And then I was at a Zillow brokerage and we had a Slack channel. I wasn't quite approved to get the higher level price points. So what I did is I made my Slack channel super sensitive so that any communication that came in that had a lead was like blowing up my phone, my watch, like.
Oh boy. You're a glutton for punishment.
It was super sensitive. And as a result, someone threw a $900,000 house in there out near Gresham, and I got a hold of it. And they ended up finding a place that had just gone back on market.
Okay.
Beautiful territorial view. And they were like, we want this house. You know, and it was a pretty competitive time, but they were motivated. And what's the most common myth about mortgages that you wish buyers would stop believing?
I wish I'd stop believing that the process is hard or difficult. It's like planning a wedding, you know? If you've never done that before, there's a lot of steps. When you look back on it, you realize that it's not as scary or daunting as you thought it was going to be. I actually sat down with the first-time home buyer today, discussed her goals on paper. We committed that to an application, and then we generated estimates and put together a game plan in about 30 minutes. And she said, you know what, boy, I don't know why I made this up to be such a big deal in my head. It was actually easy. I said, well, that means I'm hopefully doing my job right.
Sure.
I want it to feel painless and then not intimidating. Like I said at our homebuyer class last month, I even go as far as to say that maybe we can make it feel fun. Because it is fun to dream.
Sure. Yeah.
If we can get you past the numbers to have a better sense of what you're getting into, then you can kind of focus on the fun part. We
had a recent transaction where the clients that you introduced me to, they were super confident in the numbers. Can you explain the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval?
A pre-qualification, it's probably going to be maybe just a credit check, and we do not validate with any supporting documents your income with W-2s and pay stubs. We just take it, your verbal, and based on that information, you might be approved. Now, I'd say in this market, you may want to take it to the next steps and get that full pre-approval, because that's pretty ironclad. It's going to take a lot of the guesswork out of it. It's less documents you need to collect once you're in contract. How stressful is that if you start collecting that only once you have a signed contract, and that's when the clock starts? I think a pre-approval is almost the standard at this point.
I do not put offers in until we have pre-approval. Sellers want to see someone with a pre-approval. Like, how would you feel if you were selling a home and...
Would you want to take your house off the market for a pre-qual?
If someone gets a pre-approval and then it's not the right time to buy the house, what happens?
That's okay. Let's say you put together a plan and you're not ready to act on that plan.
Yeah.
You still have that plan.
Sure.
It's sitting there and it's ready to go. You just circle back when you're ready.
Yeah, go through the motions.
It's a long game. It's their decision.
Agreed.
And I think that if they feel it's right, then I'm there to support them.
How early should someone start talking to a lender before buying a home?
I would say as soon as the thought pops into your head is to talk to a lender.
Okay.
Whether that means pulling credit or not is a different story, but at least having a verbal conversation, the moment you're inspired, we can just kind of dream together and work at those high level numbers.
And I'm curious, if someone reaches out to you and they have a conversation, what is the cadence of communication that you have with them?
I like to focus on what inspired them to come in the first place. You know, they didn't come in to just look at math. Something motivated them, whether it was they saw a home that they loved, that had a yard where their dog could run around, or they have young kids and they can put a play structure back there. And for the first time, they don't want anyone living above or below them. It's that kind of like human connection, and there's really personal reasons why people come in. So when I talk to them for the first time, I want to say, what brought you in here?
Yeah,
What motivated you to explore being a homeowner?
sure.
And then the second thing I ask is, when you're looking online at homes, what are you dreaming about? Let's run some numbers on those examples and let's see if it really is feasible, and I get excited when it is.
Neil, if a buyer has student loans or other debt, how much does that really impact their approval?
It depends on how it shows up on the credit report. So if your loan is in deferment, which means it's going to show up as a zero payment on your credit report, we're going to use a percentage of that loan balance as a monthly payment. If you're in repayment, we're going to look at the repayment that shows up on the credit report.
What's the biggest mistake that you see buyers make during escrow? So they're in contract.
The biggest mistake a buyer can sometimes make when they're in escrow is taking on new debt, which puts them outside the parameters of what we initially pre-approved them for. Anything that adds to your debt ratios, that throws us outside the initial assumptions we made when you got qualified for a home. So if you absolutely must take on that additional debt, let's say you need an emergency personal loan or you do need a new car, run those numbers with me first. I can run those hypothetical payments and see if it affects your eligibility. If not, go for it. Michael Perkins, how competitive is the market right now?
There's the market, there's like the national market, what you might hear on TV. There's the local market.
Yeah.
And everything is so down to location, location, location. As a buyer, you really get to choose between three things, and that's price, condition, and location. There is negotiating, which is where you're the only buyer at the table, and then there's competing.
It's nuanced when you say competitive market because it could be competitive in a region. Or even a neighborhood.
And that's exactly right. In the Portland metro area, there's still multiple offer situations at certain price points.
What markets are the most competitive that you're seeing this summer in Portland metro?
I would say Sellwood for sure. 7 days on market. I mean, it's a very desirable, cute neighborhood, walkable. It's where I live.
Sure is.
On 13th, I mean, you have
just charm.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a park right that river. What I'm seeing is a lot of buyers are choosing to look at St. John's, Portsmouth, Kenton, and that's kind of like the next Sellwood. They actually just put in the dock like Sellwood has in St. John's under the bridge, and that bridge is beautiful, and you can get totally reasonable houses in the 4s to 600s.
What do you look for in a strong offer besides just the purchase price?
When I'm talking to my clients, I let them know we need to communicate emotionally that they're going to close. I need them to be on board with that plan. So
they need to know that your offer is strong. Does the seller also want to know that your buyer probably intends to follow through within reason? And how do you demonstrate that?
Absolutely. What I let my clients know is that I'm trying to communicate confidence that this is a buyer that has a strong purchase price, a pre-approval, and the ability to close.
How do you coach your buyers when they're up against multiple offers on a home that they're interested in?
If this is the first home that they're writing on, I gauge whether or not that they love this house enough that they would want to compete. And then I'm listening for emotional response.
What's the number one thing that sellers can do to maximize the value on their house before listing?
Paint.
Yeah.
And then presentation. So really presentation.
Something someone can get anywhere. And
it's a vibe. You're a total vibe, man. When people come in and they
I'm a vibe.
I can specifically have a client, not going to name names, but they were like, we just trust Neil. He spent time with us.
Yeah.
He listened. He also explained things very simple for us to understand. Neil, what's the most common myth about mortgages that you wish buyers would stop believing?
That you need 20% down payment. That can keep you on the sidelines while home prices increase. You can find a down payment that suits your budget and can get you into that market sooner, getting into that home, and then enjoying that equity as it increases. You might be ready to go right now.
What's the best loan program that people don't even know exists?
I'd say the answer to that, it's the best program for you. And that seems like kind of a workaround. A lot of people don't know that you can purchase a duplex as a primary residence with as little as 5% down on a conventional loan and as little as 3.5% down using FHA.
Can you walk us through what DTI or debt to income ratio means in plain English?
So DTI means debt to income ratio. That is the addition of all your monthly payment obligations, credit cards, school, car, plus your future mortgage payment. How much does this take up of your gross monthly income?
If you could give a first-time home buyer one golden piece of advice, what would that be?
Don't be nervous about starting the process. Take it one step at a time. First step, pre-approval. Second step, getting a great agent. Third step, finding a home that you want to make an offer on. Then once you're in contract, there's going to be several more steps, but just take it in small increments. Michael, what's a red flag that you look for in a home that a buyer might miss?
Deferred maintenance, things like an old roof, outdated electrical, those things can cost tens of thousands of dollars down the line.
That's so true. How do you handle clients that get emotional during negotiations?
Ultimately, my role is to keep them focused and grounded on their bigger goals.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How do interest rates actually get determined? Is it just the Fed raising the rates?
The Fed influences rates, but mortgage rates are tied more directly to the bond market. Rates move daily, sometimes even hourly. It can also be based on economic data and investor confidence. Michael, if you could give a first-time home buyer a golden piece of advice, what would it be?
Be open-minded, be open to the process, and let the home reveal itself to you.
Awesome.
How about you, Neil? What's your one piece of golden advice?
I'd say talk to your lender early and get pre-approved. It may even save you time, stress, and probably save you some money. Michael, what's the biggest myth about realtors?
That we unlock doors. Really, we're strategists, negotiators, and sometimes therapists.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think we really put it in the time.